Right folks, welcome to this exciting video. Once again, you join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And this video is just going to be a few different little nuggets because I'm just kind of out for a casual walk today. I don't know if I'm going to find any crazy abandoned history or what, but I just fancied coming down and seeing if there was any cool waves and that at the sea. And on my way down I was just noticing some of the old dates and stuff that's been scored into this old railway bridge. Right now we're underneath the main East Coast rail line, and it's crazy, like at a certain time the track was made wider, but this is actually the same route from the earliest kind of East Coast line. All they did was build it and make it better, and you can see the evidence of that from the different types of stone used here. But just check this out folks, look, 1921 there that says. Just think, 1921. I think years ago I had a look at some of this graffiti, but it's been so long I had forgotten what was even written here. It's like there's something written there as well. Sometimes on the camera, old graffiti can actually come out better. Look, that looks like it says 1908. How crazy is that folks? Even an old bridge like this has got a story of history to tell. And sometimes when I come out on these spontaneous walks, it's just random, the little things that I find. But I was really just wanting to see the waves and see the sea, because sometimes it's absolutely mad. Whoa, here's a whole massive group of deer. Look, there's deer crossing over in front. As usual probably on the video, it doesn't come out. They must be making their way along the coast. I did the intro for this video under the bridge because it's super windy and stormy today, so yeah, it's just crazy trying to do a vlog or a video sometimes in these conditions. Anyway, let's get into it folks. Check it out folks, I've just decided to come a route which I've not come in so long, down between these massive cliff sides, round behind the Elephant Rock. I often explore near this area. Okay, and every month or so I love coming down because the atmosphere at the coast and the scenery, it just blows my mind. But today I'm going to come down this different route because there's actually interesting World War II history at the bottom, which has been bulldozed down the hill at a certain time. And every now and again I like to come back and visit these places and see how the history is remaining. Look at this, it's a fine show of snowdrops, and look, they're rare looking ones. Each set of snowdrops that we see on these adventures are actually totally different. Again, you get different genres of snowdrop, and some of those ones are crazy with the 3 different petals. Yeah, this is a mad landscape out here folks. Yeah, there's some huge chunks of cement over there as well, but this bit in front of me is like massive, like holes and stuff that's been washed out. Yeah, that's a big chunk of cement right there folks, and then all this is cement rather than it being cliff. I'm just like analysing what I'm seeing here. I really want to cross over there. I need to be so careful. Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that folks, look at that. It's been part of something. Wow, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get back if I go over there. I really wanted to go and have a look at that there. Look, that's like a 3.5 foot drop right there. I mean, look at this here, it's unusual. Look, it's been poured against wood originally. I always theorise to like coastal defences and stuff here, and I'm sure at the other side of this cliff face there was definitely one. But I'm intrigued to know if there was maybe more which has been bulldozed away over the years. It could also be remains of some other like farm history which has been bulldozed over here, but when I saw the cement I thought it's worth coming over here and documenting it, because it's definitely like come down the hill from the field. But I have to be careful because this whole cliff here is just washed out basically. Yes folks, we've safely navigated that. And just look at this, the silhouette of the ancient graveyard on top of the hill. I'm always amazed by this small piece of dike here, which remains at the corner. Somebody's been up there building that dike, and it's crazy to imagine it onto this bedrock seam of sandstone. Here we go, folks. This is like crazy when you have these huge cliffs at either side. Now I can see the massive chunks of World War II history that remain here on the side of the hill. Yeah, look at this. This is the view down to the sea, and the tide's really far in. I've not seen the sea that high for a long time when I've been at the coast. Check this out, folks. This is the remains. It goes all the way down here. It's like it's definitely been like bulldozed somehow down the hill. Check out this, big chunks of a structure, almost lost to nature and time. And if I waited another few months to come and record this again, it would actually be more like covered by the nature and the wild landscape here. There's so much bushes and long grass, you can't even walk here in the summer without great difficulty. Check this out, another big massive slab. Just imagine the home guard, maybe coastal lookout, standing on this slab at a certain time with his binoculars. He would have been looking out over that incredible sea landscape behind me. And look, the original position of this must have been further up here. Looks like there's more chunks. Big smooth pieces of cement. I love the way that all this lichen and stuff's growing over the rocks here. Just look at that, folks. It's a crazy scene, that. Beautiful landscapes of Scotland, but it's quite an extreme landscape. And the reason that this old coastal defence had been here, that this is some of the main chunks of it here. Again, they would have been defending, looking out over this direction in the war, in case the Germans or whoever would have been attacking had been trying to land on this beach with their landing gear or whatever they had, tanks, and it's just a crazy time back then, defending the country. And when I was coming down here, I didn't even remember about this till I was like at the top of that hill back there, and it's so cool to come and video it. When you're at the top of the hill, you can see like a slight drop in the ground, but it's just like over the years I've just gradually discovered the little bits of history like this hidden within the landscape here. Look at the old rebar right there. Incredible. Anyway, I'm literally on like a steep slope here, and I'm hoping just to head down and see what sort of waves we're dealing with today, folks. It looks like there is some waves rolling onto those pebbles down there, so let's keep this adventure rolling. Check this out, folks. This is an incredible find. I don't think I've ever seen this particular piece before, but look, it shows some of the massive shape of the cement, and look how there's been these brackets on it. Who even knows? It could be something that's even like farm related, like I say, but it's most likely come from up there. This landscape is just incredible, folks. If anybody comes down here to the coast of Angus, near like Elephant Rock and stuff like that, they have to be super careful, because the landscape is extreme. When there's bits like that washed out, you could just fall down, because when the grass grows over the top of it, you can hardly see how deep it is. And like, that graveyard's so close to the edge of that cliff, I can literally see the fence sticking out there. And there's massive fissures going through this sandstone seam. It's crazy how all this area here has been washed away or eroded, but yet the Elephant Rock structure has managed to stay standing after all these years. Check out, folks, daffodils right here. the daffodils are quite far on. The other ones that we saw last week were only through the ground by a couple of inches. Look at this, folks, this is strange. There's actually a massive cave, well, not a massive cave, there's actually a cave under Elephant Rock. And look at this massive cavern here. The way it's eroded, it's like almost a cave up there. But under here, there's a huge area. It's a low cave. Look in there, folks. Oi, oi. See a crazy thing? There's these lobster pots in here. But when I was on a walk one other time near Elephant Rock here, I saw a lot of other lobster pots sitting up on the embankment, and it's almost like somebody's nabbing these lobster pots in, taking the lobster and then hiding these, eating the lobster. Because I've seen that a few times now with little bundles of these dumped. Wow, check this landscape, folks. Millions of years of rock here to my right, above my head. One little crumble and a massive chunk of that would just knock me out. Wow, look, we're as far down as the water. See, all this stuff here just looks freshly, like it's freshly fallen off. Wow. I've not even seen the sea this high here for so long, years. And I've said it before in videos, every time I come here it's just totally different. And I like to come here like once a month, even if I don't do videos in this area. I just love the adventure, and you can't beat waves like this, folks. Look at the way they've worn under Elephant Rock here. On a day like today you have to be super careful because you can tell the waves are coming right up to here. So if I was to go away over there, it would be dangerous. Yeah, look at this is crazy, the way it's worn stones. For me, an area like this is just paradise, folks. That was quite an extreme route I came today to come down here, but wow. Having that sandstone towering above my head and then the roar from these waves rolling in here. It's literally like one of my favourite spots, I would say, around this area. The scenes are crazy out here, folks. It's just amazing to see the waves rolling in. It's such a peaceful location right here. I just had the camera on the rock doing a time lapse there with the waves coming in. And yeah, it's such a peaceful spot out here on the coast. And I love the way the waves come rolling along this sandstone ridge, and then they end up going into that corner and bursting out. But I've still not seen a high wave come over this edge, so the tide's probably going out from being at this really high height. Yeah, it's like some of them build up when they're quite far out, and then you see them. There's a big one just starting to make its way along here now. As the big waves come in, they capture the water from the other waves going out. That's when they come at the farthest end. What a spot this has been, folks. It's honestly magical. I'm going to head on now and see what other interesting stuff that we see. Wow, when the waves is just rolling up towards you, it's a special thing, like. There's so much seaweed and stuff up here at the high tide line. Judging by the marks like worn into the rock there, the tide must often get higher as well than what it is today. I'm always amazed at what's washed up ashore. And literally there's a massive chunk here which looks like it's part of an old shipwreck or something like that. A few months ago in the video we found a massive lump of lard which had apparently come out of a shipwreck on St Cyrus Beach. But like, check this massive stick out here with the bolts in it. It's like it's washed ashore with the winter storms out here. Wow. Look at that. An ancient nugget of history right there, folks. What has it been? Again, right here we could be witnessing some old shipwreck history. And it's crazy to think about that. Back in those days, all the ships were made like fully out of wood. And after that many years have passed, you can imagine they would start to be getting broken up. And that's a real massive chunk of wood right there. There's so much seaweed around here, it's just insane. I need to navigate around here. You can see the waves just coming in here, but I don't know whether to risk it. I'll have to go up and over the top. Sometimes back in the ancient days of the old Scottish islands, they used to rely on ships wrecking near their coasts so they could get things that they wouldn't normally get. I can't believe how high this water is around here. Look at the view we're getting of Elephant Rock now. It's fully submerged with its front legs in the water. Normally you can walk through, you can even climb up the front of the trunk there. Yeah, this landscape is just breathtaking, folks. The roar from the sea, it's just always adds to an adventure. And you always have to keep your eyes peeled for a big wave like wiping you out. The water's actually kind of got a blue, kind of turquoisey colour to it today. Each time you come to the coast here at the North Sea, the sea has got a different colour to it, a different kind of character to it. Check it out, folks. This is one of my favourite wave watching spots here. But today, because the tide's so high, the water's not really like ripping up in here like it does sometimes. Wow. Check it out, folks. The wild North Sea is just bubbling and churning at the mouth of this opening. When the waves come in, they just come flying up this area. Look, here's waves coming right now. Wow, see that bit I just walked across? This whole area is filling with water. Sometimes before a big wave comes in, the whole level of the water drops. And then 2 seconds later, boom, it's like 3 or 4 foot higher. That's why these rocks are so slippy, folks. Wow. I don't even know if I can jump back across here. I'm going to try it. I made it. Wow. See, it's areas like this that made me interested in like geology and stuff like that, because look at the way there's these fissures. You can see the rich ore seams like running through the rock. It just shows there's been some mad like volcanic activity here, along with like the sedimentary rock that you also find. There's like such a crazy mixture. And you can see it's got these ores and stuff throughout it. And they're actually formed when the rock's cooling down. When the bigger these are in the rocks, the faster the rocks cooled down when they were forming. So you can tell these rocks potentially formed like underwater. and just check the seams up through it. It's like quartz almost. Over the years, people often come to coastal locations like this and they chip away at all that and try and get them and take them. Whereas it's actually interesting to see them in the rock where they originally came from. It tells a story to the volcanic creation of the landscape here. Right folks, I've come to the top of this cliff because I'm literally like out of the wind right now for the first time in a minute. And just check this out. This is what I was saying about interesting geology, right? Look at this green stone and look at that white stuff, it's like chalk. And it's actually a seam. You might think, oh, that's just like a bird doo-doo on there, but actually look, it goes right through, comes out the other side of the rock. Stuff like that, it's just a crazy specimen of geology, folks. Look at it, it almost looks like so many different types of rock mixed into one. And throughout it as well, there's tiny like little gemstones and stuff. And seeing stuff like that, it just blows my mind at the coast. And literally here in Angus, the more you look around at the coast, the crazier the rocks are that you find. But I would say this is one of the craziest rocks I've ever seen, like, in years. It's such a special rock. Look at it, it's green and white, like naturally, with red. Could be iron content and stuff right there. That's maybe calcium or chalk on the top. I'm not sure what the green rock is. This is a cool spot I've found up here at the top of the hill though, folks. I just thought I would bring that stone up because it was sitting on the ground round the corner on the beach. Again, there's just a mixture of crazy stones. Ancient history right there. So this is part 2 of this adventure, folks, and I've literally come all the way from the coast to the glen, and this gives you an essence of the crazy different landscapes in Scotland. We're no longer anywhere near the sea, and look at this. It's a magical river landscape. And this is actually some ancient lands of Scotland, because on one of the hills near here, it's actually the White Carterton and the Brown Carterton, and they're ancient hill settlements dating back thousands of years of ancient Scottish history. But when I was passing this road, I just thought, check it out, folks. It's a majestic river scene once again, and I thought it's cool to mix it up in this episode. It's a bit of fun, just some cool stuff at the coast and then some cool little corners of Scotland in the glen. And when I was driving past, I could see there was loads of snowdrops growing along the edge of this water here. I have to be careful because the edge of this has been washed out below from the river, and if I went too close I could fall right in there. This is a cool little place to explore, but in a few months it'll be too overgrown, and it's the sort of bit of land where you get a lot of ticks in the summertime. So I thought I would come for a winter adventure here. Wow, it's crazy how the water has carved this land, with the sea crashing at the coast and then the rivers flowing down from the hills here in the glens. There's a proper wind blowing as well today, and that's how I thought it's cool to maybe come down here. It's in like a hollow. It's just a mad landscape, and it's been so long since I've even explored here. I remember years ago I came and explored here, but Glen-esque and stuff's probably just over that hill. Edsall is like probably like 5 or 6 miles round that road. And this is one crazy little Angus glen. It's like there's little rivers flowing at both sides here. Check that out, folks. The snowdrops are in full flower just now. Everywhere I go exploring, it's just incredible scenes of snowdrops. And now daffodils are almost coming through as well. I'm just blown away by what I'm seeing here. Look at how many trees have been like washed downstream here and deposited. Maybe these trees were growing here and the ground's been washed away as these pebbles have built up on the inside of the river. These snowdrops are clinging on to the last bit of land before it gets washed away. No way, look at these snowdrops here. Those ones are like over the top of the water. This is the kind of adventure that I love. It's just spontaneous. Full send into nature, folks. In crazy little corners of Scotland you end up seeing like this. Look at the devastation here. It's almost a post-apocalyptic scene out here by the river. Obviously, to the landowner and estate owners, I come with the greatest of respects when I'm exploring. Probably bits of land like this still get used for shooting. Most likely gamekeepers and stuff still come around here, so I have to be careful. All this has been deposited here from the river, and it's just a mad scene of carnage here, folks. Wow, look how much devastation's here. It's crazy when there's like storms in Scotland that can often totally change the landscape. Overnight somewhere can just look totally different. Look at that, there's an animal living in a burrow here. I'm going to try and get over this direction here. I can hear a helicopter coming, folks. Yeah, look at this. I'm venturing out into this wilderness of fallen trees and all this kind of like grassy bushes and stuff that's been washed around. Wow, this river must be ferocious at times. Up in the glens, throughout the ground, you get this crazy build-up of stones. A lot of that's left behind from the glaciation period, apparently, deposited throughout the land. Oh, I can see 2 helicopters. This must be a military exercise, folks. This is absolutely incredible. 2 helicopters. They're not actually quite flying over me, but there's pylons to the side of me here, so I'm not sure if they would go near that. Because of the noise of the river, I'm not sure if the noise of the helicopter is going to come out. The only reason I'm guessing it's military is because I've not seen 2 helicopters flying like that together for a lot of years. The second helicopter's got red lights on it below it, whereas the first helicopter doesn't have those red lights. So if anybody knows what they're up to, get in the comments. That's the thing on these adventures, we never know what we're about to see. Again, these helicopters are heading from east to west right now. I just thought about getting my flight radar on there, folks, but I've actually got no signal just now, so I wouldn't even get 4G. So there's no point in trying to check that out right now. That's the thing with these Angus glens. The landscape's like literally hilly, so if you're down in a low bit between the hills, you often don't get like a phone signal or whatever. Look at this stone here, folks. It must have an iron content to it, because you can see how it's like rusting. You get stones of all different types. Yeah, there's no way I can walk that way, so we'll just head round this way. It's a crazy adventure often. Some days like this, it's just fun to go for a walk and put the camera on and just see what we see. Look, it's like a little beach around this area. There's been some birds walking about here for sure. Wow, what is even going on here, folks? There's little islands and stuff made of trees which have been washed in the river. I should try and skim a stone around here, folks. I don't know if there's any good flat stones. I was looking at that stone, because look how white that stone is right there, folks. Yeah, look, that stone there might be good for skimming. Let's give it a try, folks, down this river. One skim, it didn't even hardly do anything there. Let's try this secondary stone here, folks. Look at this one. Oh, it broke up. Mad scenes once again on the channel here. I'm going to try and take a secondary route so I don't have to climb through those trees. Wow, this bit of land just keeps on going and going. This is all just sedimentary deposit from this river here. Look at that stone there. Again, stuff like that occurs in nature and you wouldn't believe it. It's like some mad old pattern from the 1950s or 60s. I think nowadays this is pretty much just a little rabbit world, like, 'cause look at that. You see where it's been digging in, it's little footprints like running round that circuit there. Look at this, folks. This piece of land here that I'm on actually comes down to this point, and it looks like I may be able to actually cross over and then safely navigate my way up the other side. Yeah, the river just drops down here, and look how many boulders and stuff's been deposited. That's what changes the course of these rivers often over time. These rocks may be slippy here. I'll keep the camera rolling for this one, folks, in case I land in the river. This could be proper muddy over here as well. Real adventures once again, folks. It's crazy at this river corner here because this whole area has been washed out when it's been storm conditions, and it must just stay filled with water somehow because it's flowing out the end there like a river. You can see there's massive like sandbanks under there. It's just crazy scenes, folks. I probably say that a lot here at this sort of place. Check out, there's like dry riverbeds around the side here, which must flow when the river's high. It's a strange landscape here with the pebbles. It's almost like a post-apocalyptic world when you're exploring in an area like this. That's some scene right there, folks. Just look at the way these clouds, they're almost like grey clouds going over the top of that hill. And it's just some winter storms that we're dealing with just now. Proper wind and stuff like that. Every now and again it just starts gusting through super strong. But this adventure's been cool, just doing a wee mixture of like two locations, going to the coast and seeing a few things, and then just a short little river walk here up a Scottish glen. It's like a random little corner of Scotland, which is just a fun little walk. And in the winter here, the sun sets. It's like 5:30, 6 o'clock just now, so it's literally just about setting. Look, this tree is going to be the next victim of the river here. Yeah, in the winter we don't have as much time to go exploring and finding like ancient buildings and stuff because it gets dark so early. Often the buildings I find, it's just like spontaneous adventures into the wild. Check this out, folks, at the river's edge there's like an ancient bit of history, probably been dumped down into the river at an ancient time. I'm not even sure if it's an old bed frame or something, maybe. Just imagine the person that may have slept on that bed and then they just got rid of it one day and threw it in the river. Whoa, I nearly fell in the river myself there. This whole hill to my left hand side's been an old midden, and there's just loads of remains of history all the way down there. Even this tree, you can see it, the ground's piled halfway up it. But it's like so many years have passed, look, everything's covered up. Big bits of tin. Must be like old car parts and stuff under there. in an area like this I can just see the water swirling, and I'm sure like years ago, like the last time I came here, I was standing on that stone and the earth was right way along the side of that stone, and that shows within a year how much of this has eroded out, and literally the bit I'm standing on has been eroded out below. In another few months this will all be getting carried away in the river. Check that out folks, in the long grass and stuff in the mid, and the old car parts, an old fuel tank. And then all the way up here there's actually parts of buildings. Check out that, big chunks of cement. It's maybe been foreign buildings or something that's been dumped down here. Yeah, I can see other bits of metal and stuff sticking out there, look. Check that out, it's like an old bit of wall right there. So much stuff was built out of that red brick back in the day. A lot of the military buildings and stuff we explore used to be built out of that same stone. It's cool just to see random things like we've seen in this adventure though folks. I've just loved the environment, and it was cool just to have this at the end and see something different. Maybe in a storm I'll have to come back and see if this has been washed away or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with the next one.